New tonight, 40 Minnesota waterways tested, and all of them have come back positive for microplastics.
Conservation advocates with Environment Minnesota did this research, just confirming that Minnesota is not exempt from plastic pollution. Fox 9's Karen Scullin going through that today with more on the study. So, Karen, I guess tell us about this study and then how it worked.
Well, basically, this is a citizens science project, basically. So it's not sort of official in any way, but it's pretty legit. So basically, they went to 40 different waterways, lakes and rivers throughout the state of Minnesota, north to south, and they collected samples of water, ran it through a filter. It was pretty simple, and you could see what was left were microplastics, some organic matter, and then microplastics. Now, some of them aren't visible to the naked eye. Some of them are. We could actually see these little tiny blue pieces of plastic on the filters where the water had been filtered through. So it was interesting, and they did this over the summer, and the results are just coming in now, and it really just kind of solidifies what we've already known, and that's that microplastics are now pretty much in everything, everywhere.
And Karen, when you mention microplastics and how we can't necessarily see them, what does this all necessarily mean then?
Well, what it means is that we're polluted. Our lakes and waterways are polluted. We know our oceans are polluted. We know it's all in our food, it's in our bodies and everything like that. But now it's just kind of bringing it home here to say, hey, our waterways are polluted in terms of fish. You know, we swim in there, we ski in there. So most likely we're also taking in these microplastics as well, which can be toxic.
Karen, you and I talked about this earlier on All Day, and we were talking about the fact that, you know, the connection between health problems and these microplastics. I mean, it's just, it's still all really up in the air, right?
Right. What we know is that microplastics, like I said, are everywhere, and they don't break down. It's not like Mother Nature could break them down like a banana peel. They live on forever. They just split into tinier and tinier particles. So we end up consuming them. But what we don't know, because the research isn't there yet, is there a direct connection between microplastics and health issues? It's kind of logical to assume that, but we don't like to assume anything, because in the microplastics there are chemicals that are known to be toxic. But again, this research just isn't there yet to make a direct link between microplastics and our bodies and what we keep or what we pass. We just really don't know. So there's still a lot of years of research ahead. But in any case, we don't want polluted waterways. We don't want our bodies to have things that they don't really need or that they shouldn't have. So they're recommending that we try to just pull back from all of our plastics use. One researcher I spoke to today says we're just kind of become codependent on plastic, especially those one-off plastics like plastic water bottles that you use once and then throw away. Really, they're recommending we kind of pull back from those kinds of things.
One more, Environment Minnesota did this. You talked about the fact that it's kind of almost like citizen scientists. If people,
Yep.
you know, how do they get people to sort of like care about this enough to get research to keep funding it? Because like you said, it's out there. We know you go on TikTok and the kids are talking about it. Mom, I don't want plastic bottles anymore. There's microplastics everywhere, right? So, I mean, we kind of feel like it's out there and can't control it. How do they get people more involved?
Well, I think that's what we're waiting on the research for, because we can't, it's hard, you know, you have environmental activists and people who truly care about the environment, and then you have those that maybe don't so much, but if they can make a direct correlation between these microplastics and our health, it might be easier to get everybody on board, to get that funding that's necessary, to do more research. But again, making that direct link is probably a little bit down the road, but we sure do need it to figure out what this is actually doing to our bodies.
Yeah, I think when you start talking about health impacts, that's when the minds start turning a little bit, you know.
Really interesting stuff. All right, thanks, Karen.